Does anyone recognize this man? Does anybody know who this is? Not the guy in silhouette. That guy. Anybody know? Oh, come on.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah. Pardon?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett, exactly. You know why Warren Buffett is famous?
Money.
Money is exactly right. He and Bill Gates, like every year have a battle for the richest man in the world. Wouldn't you love to be in that race? But every year, and this last year, Bill Gates was actually one, and Warren Buffett was number 2. But here's what I find fascinating about Warren Buffett. He has announced, just not too terribly long ago, and is now in the process of doing it, of giving his fortune away. I mean, because a lot of it's in stock, it kind of goes back and forth, but he's worth somewhere in the tune of $40 billion, yeah, that's with a B, $40 billion. And his intent is that by the time he dies, virtually all of it is given away. The lion's share of it is going to go to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's worth about $30 billion in and of itself. But he wants to give it away. What he wants to do is he wants to take everything that he has made and he wants to use it to do something wonderful with. It's almost like in his 70s, still in good health, Warren Buffett is now on a different quest. He used to be on a quest to make money, and he did pretty well. But now, rather than enjoying it, rather than spending it, he wants to give it away. And now he's on a quest, not to be rich, but to be noble. A quest, if you will, to bless people and leave the world a better place by being outrageously generous. Now, here's a notion for you. I think we are all on a quest for nobility. I think I am, and I think you are. It's interesting. When we go to the dictionary to find out what the word noble means, there are basically 2 different kinds of definition to the word. One is it means to be part of a hereditary class of special status and privilege. Like the aristocracy. You're born into a high-ranking family and therefore you inherit lots of lands and lots of money. That's the nobility. But then there's another definition of nobility, and it means someone who is dignified in how they act and speak. Someone who blesses or empowers others by what they do. Now, what's interesting is when you look at the etymology of the word, and who but me would look at the etymology of a word, but when you look at it, you find at one point in history, those 2 concepts were actually merged together as one. In ancient times, there were people called the nobles. And they were born into high-ranking, families that had money and lands and privilege and status and power. But when they would come to control their lot of land and their inheritance and wealth, they believed that they had a God-given obligation to take care of the people who lived on their land. They believed it was their obligation to use their wealth to help improve their life, to make sure that there was peace in their land, to make sure that other people's needs were met so that they could work hard and prosper. And that's what it meant to be a noble man or a noble person, someone with means who generously use their means to improve their world and to bless others. That's kind of what it means to be noble. And I am pretty convinced that we are all on that kind of quest. In fact, I kind of offer you this definition of what it means to be noble. Noble people bless others and improve the world by being generous with their material possessions. I left those people better. I left this world a better place by how I used my stuff. Here's what I think. I think you want to be noble. I want to be noble. I believe every person on the planet, at the core of their being, whether they realize it or not, we want to be noble people. And we're all on a quest for nobility. And I think I might even know why we're on this quest for nobility. And that is because we are all created in the likeness of a generous God. You know, I've never found anyone who is able to provide a satisfactory, naturalistic, or evolutionary reason for the human impulse to be generous, to give away and even impoverish oneself for the welfare of others. But there is an incredibly powerful Christian explanation, spiritual explanation. We are created in the image, in the likeness of a generous God. He made us to reflect who He is, and God is generous. Did you know that? God's a generous God. He made sure to reveal that right off the bat. We go way back into the very first pages of human history. And God created the world, right, and everything in it. And then He created Adam and Eve, and He placed them in a garden. And here's what's fascinating. In that garden were a bunch of fruit trees. We don't even know how many. Were there hundreds? Were there thousands? Probably at least. And God looked at Adam and Eve and said, look, here's what I've done. I have put thousands of fruit trees in this garden, and you can eat of any one you want. That fruit, this fruit, you can have as much fruit as you want. I put fruit everywhere for you to enjoy, and there are other things or other plants that are there for you. You have all sorts of varieties. You can have a feast every single day. Do whatever you want. It was a picture of incredible generosity. God giving in abundance so that His humans, His people, could enjoy them. And of course, with all of the thousands or hundreds of thousands of choices and yeses, how many no's did God give? How many? One. He gave one no. He's okay now. All these trees, all these plants, all this stuff you can enjoy, you can do, you can banquet every day. There's this one tree. It's this one. It's only one. Don't eat of the fruit of that tree. Isn't it fascinating? A God who has a superabundance of yeses and a solitary no gets labeled as the God of no. Well, God just doesn't let us do this, and God doesn't want us to do that, and God restricts this, and God takes away that. And it's like, whoa, what God are you talking about? Not the God of the Bible, not the God, the Father of Jesus Christ. He is incredibly generous and wants us to share in the abundance. He wants to use what He's got to bless people and improve the world. And we have that DNA in us. When He made you and He made me in His likeness, He encoded that inside of us. And we all have this impulse to want to be generous, to want to be a noble person who says, look at how I use my stuff. They're better. The world's a better place. Isn't that cool? I mean, seriously, wouldn't you like to be that kind of person? Wouldn't you? I think so. And yet, I want to ask for a show of hands. How many of you struggle being generous? Ooh, it's like, yeah. I struggle with generosity, and God and I are like this. Except for sometimes. We just struggle with generosity. Some of us struggle more than others, but still the struggle is there. And my question is, why is it that we struggle with being generous, with going with the impulses that we have to be noble people? And could it be that it's because that there are forces in our world that stifle generosity? There are forces that stifle our generous impulses. Here's at least two of them that occurred to me as I was trying to think this issue through. The first one is materialism. I mean, what's materialism? Materialism is, in essence, it's the belief that things, stuff, money, possessions, property, bling, whatever, that money, that stuff, that possessions can deliver a good life. An excellent life. That somehow, if you have enough stuff, or you have the right stuff, then you know what? You can really be happy. You can really be satisfied. You can be secure. You can be somebody. You can be a success. Because money, things, stuff, can deliver that. Materialism is a belief system that says stuff can do that for you.